Hello, greetings everyone, and I think this is a great day, being a Friday. I hope all of you are doing well. And today I'm talking about mental conditioning and the servitude mindset, which has continued to impair Africa's economic development and advancement, and generally people of African descent around the world, because of this a slavish mindset that we have. It has had negative impacts on our own development. Before I start, I'd like to let you know that you're live. We are live on United States of Africa Facebook page, also live on Twitter handles, and also we are live on YouTube channels. It doesn't matter whether you're joining us from Africa, from the United States, all over the world. United States of Africa is an initiative to unify all people of African descent and unify the African continent into one single state with one military, one parliament, one central bank. And for us to be able to create this, we need to change the mindset that we have, change our attitude. And with a proper mindset, we are going to see a new Africa that is driven by the African people. And there is need for us to decolonize our minds so that we can completely discard this negative mindset that keeps on holding us back. And it is the result of the colonization of Africa, which has made Africans all over the world to have this kind of individual mindset, which even encourages a lot of greed and discourages collective efforts to work towards self-improvement. As everyone is fighting for himself or for herself, we are losing Africa, and we are losing even what is the most important, the unity that we had before the coming of the colonizers. After the Berlin Conference, we are now seeing ourselves divided in so many boundaries that we were not there when the Berlin Conference was being organized. None of the Africans were there, but somehow, because of this mental conditioning, our colonizers compelled African leaders to embrace these colonial borders that have continued to promote division among Africans. And once you embrace nationalism at your colonial border level, then you don't see, you have a narrow mindset, and you don't see Africa as a nation. And that becomes a stumbling block towards the unity of Africa, because this colonial nationalism within the regions is not helpful. What we need to see is more Africans embracing the Pan-Africanism mindset. And by embracing Pan-Africanism, it's not just by word. It means that our actions should indicate that we are real Pan-Africanists. We should not be saying that we are Pan-Africanists, but when it comes to action, actually, we are not even making any contributions towards the growth of Pan-African organizations. We are not playing any active role in a Pan-African organization. One cannot be a Pan-Africanist if you're not playing any role in a Pan-African organization, if you're not making any positive contributions towards the economic, social, cultural advancement of Africa. Knowledge is power, and we have to continue imparting the right knowledge that Africans need to emancipate themselves from mental enslavement. With Cambridge and Harvard education, Africans become intoxicated with a sense of non-existent pride, and they become very arrogant to the point that they forget that it takes a village to raise a child. They embrace the capitalist principles after getting these Cambridge and Harvard degrees, and they even lose respect for elders and think that they can see tomorrow by just standing just because of their educational qualifications. And this is the kind of slavish mindset that we completely need to discard. And for us to do that, we need a new education that encourages and promotes African values and culture, a new education that reflects the struggles and the aspirations of the African people. We cannot attain independence if we continue depending on our colonizers for everything, from food, water, shelter, and clothing. Many African countries have been independent for so long, but the same countries are heavily dependent on their former colonizers. They import even second-hand underwears. Zambia, there's a group that is campaigning for second-hand underwears to be banned from importation to Zambia because they're actually a health hazard. And that is not the kind of Africa that we want to see. We want an Africa that will take charge of its destiny and create even the basic things that we need without having to import substandard goods from foreign nations. And for that Africa for us to build that kind of Africa, we need to change our mindset, completely reject this servitude mindset that makes us believe that we are only good when we are serving other races. Black people love being servants. They love being recognized for the service that they are offering to other races. But when you ask the same Black people to come together and create something that will make them their own bosses, these people usually have this slavish syndrome, and they are very hesitant to take steps towards economic emancipation, towards building our own industries, towards building our own educational systems. Instead, we'll be complaining about educational racism in healthcare, but the same Black people are not ready to come together and fund the creation of their own educational systems that will ensure that Black people get the right kind of education that will make them leaders everywhere. Just like any other race has done, Black people can also accomplish as much as such if we realize our potential and reject being servants, decide to return to what Africa was before the coming of the colonizers. In Africa then, there were kings and queens, there were princes, prince and princesses, and royalty is what defined Africans. But now Africans are fleeing from Africa just to be servants in Western countries, to be servants in the Middle East, and this has perpetuated 21st century slavery. It's not because Africans are not talented, but it's because of the kind of mindset that we have. We have come to believe that without being servants to other races, then we cannot exist, which is not true. Africans are capable of existing without dependence on any other race, just like what Africa was in pre-colonial period. Actually, it was other races and other nations that depended on Africa for survival. And the same races till today, they continue to depend on Africa for survival, while Africa is heavily dependent on the same people that are exploiting Africa. And it requires us to wake up, to completely discard this mental conditioning that makes Africans believe that without foreign interventions, we're not going to have African problems solved, or Africans are incapable of solving their own problems, or Africans without foreign aid, they'll die of poverty and hunger. In fact, foreign aid has continued to encourage the underdevelopment of Africa by sinking small nations into debt that they're actually unable to repay. And for us to create the Africa we want, we need to change the mindset, believe in ourselves, believe in our potential, to utilize the natural resources we have, to utilize the labor that we have. And instead of hiring foreign skilled workers, we should continue training Africans so that they can acquire those skills, and we can use those skilled Africans to build our own infrastructure and create an Africa that is self-reliant. Mudit, you are saying great. Thanks for joining on via Lincoln. And then we have Lola from Lincoln saying hello. I hope you guys are doing well over there. And then there's Ricardo saying, listen to your heart. Have you tried to communicate? I have reached out. We are all one. Everyone is looking for an answer. Probably this is a message to invoke the discussion. John, you're saying, and no matter what game we play, we got something they can never take it away. That is true, but we need to realize our power so that we begin to utilize our power for our own development. Whether it's in football, in any other sport, Africans are usually in charge of at the top of every game, and yet we don't own the processes. We don't control these football clubs. Basically, we are just servants serving the interests of those who create these clubs. And it's very difficult to see a very strong African club because every African is just looking up for himself or herself, but very few are interested in coming up with an initiative that will create institutions that are meant for collective benefit of Africans. For example, if we decide that we are going to create a Pan-African club, you'll find out that many Africans will not be eager to support such kind of an initiative because we have come to have this kind of mindset that makes us believe we can't do anything for ourselves. We just have to wait and be governed. And this is something that we need to change to ensure that we create an African nation that is self-reliant. And we need to embrace a new mindset, believe in ourselves, and create an African nation that is driven by Africans for Africans at home and abroad. By changing our mindset and instead of thinking of undergoing more than 7 years of schooling only to become a servant or to be employed. We should embrace skilled labor. We should embrace skills that will make us create opportunities for ourselves and even for others. By becoming job creators, having this mindset that makes us industry owners, then it will show that we are in charge of our destiny, and we are ready for the challenges that are facing Africa in the 21st century. We cannot be after graduating that with PhDs we are complaining about joblessness, we are complaining about hunger, we are complaining about the problems that are facing Africa. That kind of education that we receive should empower us to create solutions to the challenges that we are facing in Africa, as opposed to creating another problem, the unemployment crisis. We need to regain control of our natural resources, and one of the most precious natural resource is the brain, the mind. Once we are in charge of our brains, and there is no foreign interference in our minds, there is no foreign ideology interference in our minds, then we begin the first step of freeing ourselves from the shackles of slavery and bondage to the shackles that have held Africans for the last 400 years. This is a time to break these shackles of mental enslavement, so that we can create a new Africa with Africans that have a positive mindset, Africans that believe in themselves, and Africans that are ready to take ownership of the development process of Africa. We should not be expecting that the foreign investors will come and develop Africa for us. When they come to Africa, they usually come with their own interests. And when they are developing Africa, they don't develop Africa for us. They develop it so that they can fulfill their personal interests or their national interests. And the ongoing exploitation of Africa by France and many other countries is an indication that colonialism never came to an end. It just changed the shape and form. It even intensified, and now involves even the leaders that are in Africa. There are so many leaders that just a minute. There are so many leaders in Africa that actually playing the role of the neo-colonizers, and they are being used by foreign countries to continue exploiting Africa's natural resources. And by doing so, Africans are losing billions of dollars in terms of the natural resources that are leaving Africa every year, being exploited by these foreign multinationals, that many of them actually evade taxes, and they actually loot most of these natural resources using diplomatic channels. And this is the time for Africans to take charge of their destiny. Let us regain control of Africa and take charge of who we are as a people. And one of the first steps towards reclaiming ourselves is to redeem and reclaim our culture, embrace our cultural heritage, and appreciate our culture, appreciate our history, get to learn get to learn who we are as a people, and embrace the Pan-Africanism principle, so that we can attain a unified African nation. Thank you everyone for joining, and have a good day.